Hey, who's your favorite superhero? That's my hook for the elevator pitch at the career fair. So there's three career fairs that are happening this week. One is for engineering students, the other is for or engineering companies, the other is for non-government organizations and the arts and sciences, and the last one, and I think arguably the best, is for computing, information, and data science. So I'm trying to attend all three and put my utmost effort into the third one. I think attending the first two allow me to get the experience I need. So if I do mess up, I can mess up like ahead and know okay what's going on there. I also think with the engineering one, there should be some software engineering roles or data science roles that I could probably pivot myself towards. And it would be cool to just start building those connections there. But what have I largely been doing? First of all, this is not what I'm just wearing. This is what I'm wearing for tomorrow. I want to stay formal because there's a lot of events happening outside the career fairs. A lot of them are having different companies come over, so I'm having a formal outfit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll wear this tomorrow. I'm just wearing this because I wanted to bring up my outfit tomorrow since I have to wake up early tomorrow. Besides that, though, what I've been doing right now is been practicing my elevator pitch. What you saw at the start of the video was essentially me asking the question for the elevator pitch where I asked, who's your favorite superhero? I think that's a great way to connect with the interviewer and break the stereotype of the I don't say stereotype, probably the cliche or just the repetitive nature of all the conversations they're probably having that day. Because it's going to be a lot of, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. And maybe they like that. I think the reason I like the superhero thing is three reasons. First of all, I got to use it in my How to Utilize Your Silence speech. So it's a cool callback. Two, I just really like superheroes, and three, it breaks that awkwardness and gives me something more. It gives me something to relate my story to. Cause I think the large reason I got into computer science was because I wanted to be a superhero myself by leveraging my knowledge of technology to help different communities, be it big or small. So what I really want to leverage in my elevated pitch is basically being a data guy, right? So essentially, is that I believe data is pivotal to all communities, from generating it to leveraging it, right? And then I talk about Nigeria's electrical grid. Let me just give a draft version. Hey, who's your favorite superhero? Oh, that's really interesting. If they say Iron Man, that's mine too. If they say Batman, that's mine too. If they say anyone else, I can probably try and maneuver. That's something I'm practicing now. I was talking with ChatGPT to try and get that conversational flow. I don't think it's the exact replica of a real conversation, but I think allows, since ChatGPT is asking some questions, it allows me to at least get into that thinking mode of what I might say and just allow me to speak for long periods of time and get preparation. Anyways, hey, who's your favorite superhero? After that, I go into, well, that's cool. And I think that's largely the reason I got into technology or see, I'm still trying to organize it. I talk about, my name is Chiku Dal, maybe Kachiku. You can call me Dal, I'm Nigerian American. Largely the reason I got into technology is because I wanted to be a superhero by leveraging my knowledge of technology to help different communities by generating data or leveraging data for them specifically. I believe data is pivotal for all communities as it allows you to best strategize the path for their success. I've seen this in a lot of different ways. Recently, I was working on a research paper for my IB program in which I investigated how to implement AI into Nigeria's electrical grid. And long story short, Nigeria's electrical grid is less than stellar. It causes a lot of issues for the country, from healthcare issues to lack of opportunities in entrepreneurship, and largely leads to a less developed state than it can be. And though and the biggest issue I've seen with the biggest hurdle I faced with this issue, with my research paper, was the lack of data. And I think it creates it is a bit and represents a larger hurdle for the country as a whole when there's a lack of data on what to do next. Even with when I was interning at UMD as a teacher assistant teaching Python to kids from marginalized communities, I used my experience and I gathered data from the kids to see what teaching techniques works best with them, what methods or what concepts work best with them. And I took this experience with my own teaching program where I taught different kids how to use Python and learn what references I should use and stuff like that. I should probably not use stuff like that, but that's basically a gist of the thing. I think it's a bit too long. I do think it offers some stuff to talk about, so I'm really happy about that. But yeah, it's really interesting. I got to do some mock interviews with CGI and BNY. Really great stuff. They also got CGI got to see my resume, so there was a conversation from there. BNY, there was no resume like they looked at per se. It was more so just a conversation from the start. What I told them is what they went off of, and I had to tell them more. So I think that might be how the career fair is. I'm not 100% sure. But I am excited. I think I talked to the recruiters there, and they said I did a good job. BNY actually made a good point about how when I was answering the questions, I didn't answer them the best. I talked about a lot of the middle section, but I didn't talk about the beginning and end of the situation. For example, they asked me a question about what was a project I was really happy I worked on or passionate about. I used a research project about implementing AI into Nigeria's electrical grid. But in that case, I didn't do my elevator pitch. So then I just said, oh, I did this, blah, blah, blah. So what the recruiter recommended, and I really thank her for this, was the STAR method. The STAR method is talk about, when you get asked a question about something like this, talk about the situation, the task, the action, and the result. So I really just talked about the task and the action. I really didn't go into the situation and results. So like to a recruiter, they have no idea why I'm working on this paper, right? Like you don't just start writing a paper. I have to give a situation. So I don't say like, oh, I'm doing this for my IB program. I'm a bit worried that makes it a little bit less impressive. I remember I was doing a Harvard interview, and then I remember I brought up the paper, and it was like only 4,000 words. That's it. And I was like, dang, okay. But yeah, I do think that's fair. That looking back, it's a bit. It's not as many words as I thought, but I do think it's still a great foundation for research. But anyways, that's how I have to phrase my answers. So that's something I'm going to start working on with just like all my different projects. I'm going to try and start seeing how I can pivot them to be the best they can be for my story of data, superhero, helping different communities. But yeah, I think the two biggest projects that I really want to talk about is the Dooku game and the research paper. I've seen those two generate the most interest. Besides that, I want to use my experience as a teacher just to talk about different stuff. And one that I found that really worked a lot was with BNY. They asked me what my biggest strength is, and I said my over persistence. Essentially, I'm not someone who's satisfied with just overcoming something. I have to conquer it. So I went to how I had a speech disability as a kid, and I wasn't satisfied. I was just learning how to speak, right? So I joined speech and debate, got medals. I became the president of Module and took my team to conferences. That's the idea of me that's the idea of me conquering wherever I do. But overcoming just isn't enough. And then they talked about my greatest weakness, and this was one I just came up on the spot. In a sense, I think I've actually used this before, but I talked about how I think I take on too many burdens or responsibilities. I'm working on how to share and ask other people for help. I talked about a quote from my cyber patient mentor: all you need to know is how to find out what you don't know. And essentially say, that's really the attitude I'm taking towards my work now, in which I don't have to know everything. I just have to know who knows it and get that advice, whether it's a person or a document that has that past problem and the solution. I'm taking less responsibilities onto myself, or I'm learning how to share responsibilities with others. But yeah, that's really where I'm at for the career fair right now. Tomorrow, I'm going to get the wooden QR codes and start sharing that with people. I'm hoping that my passion is really going to get to the recruiters. I think at least my technical knowledge, I know I did quotations, but my interest in technical knowledge will help me a bit. So I'm also hoping I have a unique story that sticks with them and just overall an interesting personality. But yeah, besides that though, I have a bunch of stuff I want to say. But for this video, I have nothing else I want to say. So have a great day.